Yeah, as I know, Luisa will be here today, but I'm gonna, yeah, we can that before um we while we wait for the visa, we can um um introduce the Farmington, Murray and Bob. Could you? Hi, yeah. Yeah, they
Hello.
are Sunju and Erika Zin and Binna and Suyeon from MacLab and Marie and Bob. They as I already told you a lot. I mean, the farmlanton is very generative farm growing sustainable. They are looking for a more sustainable way to learn the farm and how to collaborate with the artist. So Ukai project already have had some project in the farm in 2022. Sorry for the yeah. My dog is barking a little bit. So
We have some barking here, Becky.
yeah, so Marie and Bob, could you introduce about the farm and could you say hi to everyone?
Yeah. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
nice to see everybody.
Hello.
We have been on the farm since 2018. We're first generation farmers, and we moved here without much of a plan for the farm. So it's been a lot of research and development. And we now are growing basketry willow as our main crop. We have a ceramic studio on site as well that does classes in ceramics, and we'll be following a similar model with the basketry willow. We also have a deer refuge. That was a product of being here without a plan and having all of this land, and then the Humane Society, which is a nonprofit organization that represents the interests of animals, rescued some deer from a zoo that was shut down for cruelty. And so the municipality shut the zoo down for breaking animal cruelty laws, and then the Humane Society came in and rescued them from being euthanized. So all the deer would have been killed if they weren't rescued, and we had this land that we weren't yet knowing what to do with. And so the Humane Society put the refuge in here for the deer, and they've been here ever since. So they moved here in 2019. So they're Taiwanese and Japanese deer, and they can never be released on the land here. And we have some chickens and goats and sheep that we're learning the ropes with and seeing how they interact with our land. But sort of it was always really important to us, with my background in arts and Bob's love of cooking and gatherings, that it was not just a farm, but a place, a cultural hub, and a place where the values for the farm would come from the collaboration with the arts community.
Yeah, and I forgot to tell you guys, Marie is you are the also artist, right? The media artist. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yeah. My background is in art and education, so I taught art for the entertainment industry for 10 years at Algonquin College, and through that, I wanted to have a lot of that was digital art, and a lot of it was not coming necessarily from the direction of the artists in the industry. And so it was a lot of it was shifting. The colleges and university are shifting a lot of classes online, and through learning, how to best teach online, I really learned that it's so important to be in a place with people. And so that's what motivated coming here, was creating that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is first time to see Bob in
Yeah.
in person, right? So yeah, could you tell about yourself, because I had a lack of information about you, so I'd love to hear about yourself. I mean, yeah. your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, very, very involved in all the projects on the farm, but I also have a job outside of the farm. So Mary is really the main operator on the farm, and for these types of events, I'll usually take time off of my job and participate. But I think Mary is really the engine of all that happens on the farm. Uh, I have a background like Mary and I met through performance, so like we really wanted a place where we could kind of create a cultural platform for the community and the kind of the surrounding area. Um, I am a very passionate cook. Um, that's one of probably my main hobbies. So that was a big motivator, I think, as well for coming to the farm was really getting closer to the actual production of the food. So we have a modest garden, and the animals as well play into that. In my day job is I work for an organization that helps Canadian businesses do business internationally. Um, so it's part of the government of Canada, but if a company wants to do business in a outside of Canada's borders, then we support them with financing and those types of things. So that's what I do
during the day.
During the day,
before you get on.
When I lock myself up, yeah, and then as soon as I finish, I get on the tractor and do move things around. Yeah.
And you guys are also inventing some routing systems for the farm, right? As a sustainable way to run the farm. So great to be a part of the farm and have a opportunity to collaborate with you guys. And thanks for inviting us again. Yeah,
we're very excited.
So excited.
Yeah, thank you. And I think I think it is time to start the presentation because I think the members are coming during the meeting. So so thanks for the introduction part for the Farmington and Marie and Bob, and feel free to ask the questions and discuss something about the theme of the research. Okay. And we're gonna have the each 30 minutes presentation per of the artist. So we didn't set the who are gonna be the first. So based on your preference, who you wanna have the presentation first? Yeah. You, Erika? Yeah.
Yeah, I can go first if that's all right with everyone. It's okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay, I will just share my screen. What do I want to start with? Okay, I'm going to start with text first. Share this. Ugh. Okay. So this is fun because I have to get all the little things. I'm only working with one screen as opposed to usually two screens. So I have to hide a bunch of things so I can actually read. I guess I don't really have to read. I think one of the things about where I'm going to come to this project with is the idea of intelligence being distributed within and connected between environments, people, objects, other beings, and things like that. For Mary and Bob, I don't think you probably haven't, because you're sort of newer to the conversation with the artists, I'm assuming. So I have certain disabilities that are sort of impact how I learn and also how I sort of retain knowledge and communicate. So as you can sort of see in the text that I have here, this is sort of, this is why I'm an artist. And the work that I do generally is about sort of moving through different ways of trying to express something that's learned or something that's seen and understood. So for this project I'm just going to switch to the next page just a little bit. Oh, there. So basically, what I'll be doing is playing or experimenting, depending on how one sees what one does, but really focusing on cause and effect. And I'm going to now stop sharing for a second. So was that too fast for the text? Do people want me to bring the text back up? No? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Good. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So now I'm just going to show some images. And so what I'm going to try to do is go from sort of where I have ideas and then sort of manipulating, playing with things, and then experimentation, sort of taking from what I do in the studio to what I do sort of in environments, and then what kind of general results, kind of either in the sense of what does an exhibition look like after I've kind of gone through everything else. So I'm going to try to be in order. But my images aren't in the best of order because I just threw everything into a folder. So as opposed to nice and formally this, and this. So, okay, I'm going to share again. I guess what I should say is some of the things that I'm thinking about for this project are I've been working the idea of water intelligence, water as a body of intelligence. And so as humans, us being, what is it, 75, 80%, 70% water, we're water beings, we're water bodies. And I think what's interesting is the way, no matter sort of what you talk about, sort of in environments, everything relies on water. So if it's, that's why on the Discord, Bob, I asked about the salt licks for the deer, because I was thinking about something about water. There was, I can't remember now, but there was something about sort of needing the salts and the waters and things like that. And then I was thinking about the creek that you've been talking about and the beaver dams. And then what else? Everything. So there's water's involved in everything. So what I'll do there, I don't know. And I kind of like the idea of I'll just bring some stuff and experiment. And usually what happens is I have some sort of ideas. I try to bring things, I get to the place of experimentation, and then I realize that I had some biases or some ideas of how something works, and most of the time it doesn't work. So I rely heavily at that point in improvisation. And also one of the things is because I don't necessarily bring the tools that are needed because I sort of don't know, and I kind of like the idea of not really knowing what I'm getting myself into. And so I usually have there's limitations into what I can do. So there's a lot of improvisation of tools and techniques, and sometimes things are successful and I find new things that I wouldn't have learned had I come with a set idea. And usually after a process, I'm back in the studio working and sort of moving forwards with a finalized piece, which kind of either has sound, video, sometimes there's video projections, kinetic movement, robotics, things like that. Excuse me. Okay, so now I'm going to go share my screen and try to do sort of like a visual process of what I've been doing with water and intelligence over the last, since the pandemic. My way of timing now is sort of like post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. I don't know if everyone else is kind of on that sort of dividing line, but that's my dividing line right now. Okay, sharing images. Where to start? Okay. Share. This is a folder. Okay, so I'm going to start here with ideas, and you get to watch me play with my computer. Let me just do it like this. Okay, I'm from Winnipeg. So Winnipeg is about 1,600 kilometers from Ottawa, give or take a few kilometers. So everything's very flat where I am, and lots of farming in the south, and north forestry, fishing, and mining. But there's some more forestry, or it's not forestry, mining in the south now because of the sands. It turns out that the sand that we have here we're on an ancient lake, glacial lake, and limestone, and apparently our sand is highly desirable for making solar panels, which is a very contentious issue. So what I do find where there's more, most of the population is in the south along the border with the United States. So when you're driving around, it's farms and antennas. And so these are sort of what I do when I'm looking around. I just sort of like stop, jump out, and just take images. So here's a big mat of algae that was pulled out of one of the harbors around the lake. I spend a lot of time around the lake. Oop, someone asking a question?
I think I might not be seeing what you're seeing. I'm still looking at your folder of photos.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, hold on. Thanks for letting me know.
No worries.
I think what I should have done was, okay, I'll try again. Now that let's do this. Thanks. Okay. This is the first shot. So this is when I was talking about antennas and flat. I'll call it the flat. And then this is around the lake. It's Lake Winnipeg, and this is a mat of algae. So and you can see my bike wheel in the photo. So I spend a lot of time just riding around on my bike or walking, and taking pictures of things that I find kind of curious. This is something I'm working on right now, which is a sound wave, 3D print of a sound wave. One of the reasons why I'm playing with this idea, this visualization of sound, is one of the processing disorders that I have is I can pass a hearing test, but I don't necessarily process the sound. So I mishear, or I misprocess, I guess, words. And so these are words that I misprocess. And so I'm building a body of building a set of sound files, sound waves, and then trying to figure out what to do with them. And this is 3D printed with PLA. So Well, that's another thing where I'm always trying to play with materials and thinking about, do I want a material to last? Do I want a material to not last? Do I want it to dissolve? And so this thing can't really dissolve in the sense of how a bioplastic would normally dissolve. This is just bubbles. I was, again, water. Some kids were playing in the neighborhood and they were making bubbles in a pool, in a puddle, a mud puddle. So that was so fantastic and beautiful. So I had to take pictures. This is from 2 weeks ago, I guess. I went up to the lake for a week to do some, build some bioplastics and figure out about dissolving things in the water. And this is one of the questions I'm going to ask everyone about the process. But this is sort of like a little makeshift sun thing to hang out by the water. Here's some images of, this is still in my ideas section. What I wanted you to focus on, this one was the circle that's very light. I don't know if it comes across. And then there's like a pink text. And this is from another residency I did in 2023. It's my first experience of the water when I got there. I drove from Montreal down to New York State, out around the Adirondacks for this residency. And I picked up the water. I was really, like, I had multiple reasons why it took me forever to get there. And when I got there, I had some water and I put it at my face and I, just wanted to refresh my face with water. And the sensation of the water was just like, it was like a zero gravity bubble that I just pushed into my face. And it was such a fantastic, amazing experience. The water was so soft. So these are kind of like sensations, visual things, scientific things. This is a picture of course, now I've forgotten what the heck this is. But basically, I'm looking for my notes here. Electron maps of the molecule of water. And here's a past residency from 2022 up in the northern basin of the Lake Winnipeg that I did on water knowledge with a group of artists, learning about knowledges of water through Northern Cree peoples and Ojibwe language groups of Indigenous peoples who live in Manitoba, who have always lived in Manitoba. And I was playing with temperature and resistance, and for this was what do you call it? There's a formula. Anyways, there's a formula, mathematical formula to get temperature from resistance. But so that was interesting for me for a while, but of interest. But then I got distracted. Okay. So that's sort of how I do. What else do I want to show? How's my time? I'll just stop for a second. How's my time?
You have 10 minutes.
Okay, good. I'm going to jump over to what I did last 2 weeks, and we'll talk about bioplastics. So I'm going to go back to this. 1 moment, please. Heck. Which folder do I want to look at? This one. Experimentation. Okay. So I got too many windows open. All right. Lovely. Okay. So here we are. I'm up at the lake again, and I'm trying to dissolve some bioplastics that I've have some recipes for, because I was thinking of making my sensors dissolvable when I'm sort of measuring, doing sound. I was thinking of putting microphones in the water, like with a hydrophone, but making my own, which I usually end up doing. And so I've been working with piezo films, and I've been trying to encase the piezo films in, this is starch-based plastic, which was a bad flop because I didn't cook it long enough and it never hardened. And then this is a foam, gelatin and foam. Oops, sorry. So what ended up happening is, with those plastics, I started thinking about the bioplastics. Oh, this is wonderful. This is something that, I'm just gonna stop sharing again. This is something that, I can put in the environment, it'll break down. It's not a normal plastic, this, that, and the other thing. And then I started thinking, but at the same time, I'm dissolving a protein and what is it? Protein, glycerin, and water, and I put some color, food coloring in it to just have a different color. And then I thought about, okay, but I'm still introducing something into the environment. So how do you tread lightly? Was the question, how do you tread lightly? Because even if I put something in the environment, an animal might eat it because it's a protein or it's a starch. While the biofoam, which was really neat because it actually made like a bubbly foam, it's got soap in it. So the soap, while it doesn't have the phosphate-free soap, it's still soap. And I'm like, do I really want to leave soap floating around? I mean, I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm not a scientist. So it's the questions of, you're still introducing, are you still polluting because you're putting something that's human made into the space, into the environment? Let's say I went to the farm and put a dissolvable sensor into the water. So now I have material going into the water that wouldn't necessarily go in the water if I wasn't there doing that. And so these are the questions of some of the things I was thinking about. And that's when I stopped making my plastics, because I was like, I don't know what to think about. So then I went back, and then that's when and then I started thinking about other ways of just sort of working in the environment with materials. Yeah, so that's where I stopped, I guess. This is where I'm going to stop. And this is more about, I would love to have a discussion more about these ideas of what we do as artists and human artists. And when we're experimenting, what is our role, and what are our limits, and what can we do to, like I said, what can we do to tread lightly? And can an artist tread lightly and still make art?
Yeah.
Deep existential question. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation, sharing your process. And I was wondering that then what aspect of the intelligence of water you focused on during this experiments? And
sure.
Yeah, is there because you mentioned about the salt leaks of the deer, so is it about osmotic pressure? I mean, yeah.
I'm
yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about sort of the resistance and capacitance of water, the resist how water can hold a charge, an electrical charge, and how it can distribute a charge. And when I started thinking about the salt licks, I was thinking about, you know, what levels of is the word dissolution? How dissolved, what kind of dissolved salts and minerals are in the water, in different waters, because all waters are different. And being able to measure that, and then in the sense use at sort of in my forward thinking as like, if I'm making an artwork or a system, how would I use water of like the idea of holding a charge would be like a memory, and the idea of distributing a charge would be a communication. And so I'm thinking about water as some sort of force. And but the osmotic idea is interesting too. And yeah. That's all I got.
Is it okay if I ask a question?
Oh, sure. Yes, please.
Yeah. I really found the photo of the algae mat interesting. I've not seen that before. We've been exploring algae in various ways around here through residencies and just looking at the microbiology in the water around here. And it's very fascinating stuff. But I wonder if, you know, if there are materials like that in the environment that would be left behind, would degrade in the same way that you can work with, if you considered working with the materials that are already there, altering them in some way, but in a way that can be undone by nature.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good point. With like a minimal amount of processing of the material. So taking that, when I saw that algae mat, I really sort of like, I wanted to take it home with me and make a shirt or something. But, oh my God. I would stink so bad. I would smell so bad with wear that shirt. But yeah, I think, and I think that's the one of the things about coming to a place with sort of preconceived ideas, or and not in a sense of an arrogant preconceived, but it's just sort of, I think this, and then you show up and you're like, that doesn't work. and being able to have the opportunity to like just work with what you have, and I guess that's part of that tread lightly idea. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Could the images that I do love to hear about more explanation about the images of the red and blue, the shape of the wave, right? Is a kind of a data, because I assume that your formula, the experiment device, is look like the data shape. So is it aligns with the shape of the data, or so could you explain more about the images that you show me, the red and blue shape?
Right. The electron density map.
Right.
Well, okay, here's the shapes. Here's some shapes. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to open up something quickly. And then share. Share. One moment, sorry. Electron density maps, sorry. Ideas. Okay. Sure.
I also was curious about the shape of the density is depends on the elements of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, this is okay, can you see the graphic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the one you were talking about, these two, right? Are these the two that you were talking about?
Right.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Should I stop sharing?
I can see that.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Whoops. Okay, we'll try that again. Okay, so I'll go full screen there. So this is something I found that when I was trying to figure out about resistivity of measuring the resistance of the water. This is how you met. Like now, I'm not remembering the exact scientific thing behind it, but what really attracted me was the shapes. And so it's sort of like it reminded me of antenna radiation patterns. So I guess it's sort of like the same idea of electrical radiation pattern between because I don't know if you can see this. This is like a really bad scan of it, but there's the two hydrogen atoms and then the oxygen. And so this is sort of like, to me, it's like a radiation pattern. And it was something that attracted me for ideas of drawings, which I'll just quickly pop up here and show. Share. So these are more the idea, again, taking those it's the shapes. All right, so that's it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but okay. Okay, so yeah. We're gonna have a discussion, one-on-one discussion for for the next part, and then yeah, thank you for the presentation, Erika.